So Jack White was another weird thing in that the number 3 was kind of spiritually a weird number that I would always see. And I understand that when you think about something, you notice it. Like when you buy a red car, you tend to start noticing red cars on it. So when someone goes, I keep seeing the number 11, it's like, well, because you're tuned into the number 11, so you're seeing numbers all day long. But when you see that, you stop and you notice the number 11. However, I was seeing the number 333, which is a common number in the occult, and I don't dabble in that stuff at all. But that was a number that was guiding me. After I moved into Guitar Center, I just kept seeing this 333, and I was like asking people, like, what does it mean? And so one day I got a call, and they're like, hey, there's this client that needs a guitar painted, and his name's Jack White. And I knew who Jack White was. He was the guy in the White Stripes, and I knew a couple of the songs, but I didn't really know a lot about Jack. So I was like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, Jack White. He's a rock star. He's from Detroit. That's weird. Why is he calling me? And they're like, he saw a couple articles in the newspaper where you put a skull inside a guitar, and he kind of liked that. So I instantly went to Google, and I started researching this guy. I'm like, wow, this guy is he's a heavy hitter. I mean, he seems to be friends with the Rolling Stones and Jimmy Page, and Rolling Stone magazine keeps putting him on the cover. And he's producing Loretta Lynn. He's doing these movies. He's got all these side projects. I'm like, this guy's not a musician. This guy's like an American artist. I'm like, this guy could potentially, he was kind of like a rock star for the rock stars. I mean, to this day, I mention Jack White to a lot of people. They're like, yeah, no, I don't know who that is. But if you're talking to another rock star, an A-lister, and you mention Jack White, they're like, oh my God, Jack White. Yeah. He's amazing. And so I was very excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to build it. I want to do this. And then I also noticed that his number was 333. That way he had the number 333 all over his stuff. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And that's just kind of weird, but whatever. So I really wanted to work for this guy. To me, I felt like the stars had aligned. And he sent me this Gretsch Duo Jet. And he goes, okay, basically I want to call this thing the Triple Jet for this new band I'm starting called the Raconteurs. My color for this band is going to be copper. So I want you to put another pickup in the middle. So it's going to be 3 pickups. That's why I want to call it the Triple Jet, because I like the number 3. And then I want you to spray paint it copper color. And cool. So I did that. I ordered a Gretsch Duo Jet, made it into a Jack White Triple Jet, put a Bigsby on it, and painted it metallic copper. And I sent him the guitar, and he emailed me back, and he was like, wow, this is a great guitar. Thank you so much. You're a great, wonderful person. And I said, I got a bunch of other ideas, if you're interested. And he sent me back this really short, curt email. And it was like, thank you for the guitar. Let's just consider it a beautiful thing. And, or something like, let's just keep the memory a memory and remember it as a beautiful thing and move on with our lives. Basically just completely shutting me down, And I was just like, wow. I was like, how could I land such an important client that aligns with my beliefs and my visions? And all I do is paint this guitar. And I actually had someone else paint it. I didn't even paint the guitar. All I did was route and put a pickup in it. And instantly a light bulb went off in my head. And I wrote him back. I said, well, I'm glad you enjoy the guitar. It's too bad you didn't let me make it out of real copper. That's all I said. And then I got an email back. You can do that? ? And of course, I didn't know if I could actually do it. Because of that little interaction, I built him guitars for the next 10 years. And leading to the Green Machine, which is the Green Machine was another Gretsch I modified with there's a funny story there, a pull-out microphone. So you could play the guitar and then reach down and pull out this retractable microphone and scream in it and let go. And the microphone would retract back up inside the guitar. And that guitar was featured in the movie It Might Get Loud with Jimmy Page the Edge, and Jack White, which led me to my introduction to Jimmy Page. But again, that was another situation where he emailed me after. So I built him these copper guitars. I built him the black Jet with the scorpions secretly embedded into the headstock. Built him a few other guitars, and he emailed me. He's like, "Hey, can you put a microphone inside a guitar that retracted back?" He's like, "I got this harmonica microphone. It's called the Green Bullet, and I want to put it in this green guitar and retract it." And of course, I was like, "Yeah, of course I can do that." And it was crazy because the Green Bullet microphone weighs about 5 pounds. It's heavy. And so my first idea was put it into a hair dryer. The cords on a hair dryer, sometimes they'll retract. I was like, I'll just take apart a hair dryer. No way. Not only would it not even move, but the microphone even pulled it back. So I remember I was in Seattle and I walked into, at the time, there were still vacuum cleaner repair companies. And they were like these old, antique stores. You'd walk in, dust everywhere. And there was like this old guy.
Because they fix vacuums. Shouldn't have any dust, man. I know what you're talking about, though.
That could have been a bad sign. Anyway, so I walked in, and this guy looked like Rain Man from the movie. His glasses were this thick. And I was desperate, and I just laid it out to the guy. I said, "Listen," I said, I'm putting a 5-pound microphone into a guitar. Guitar is this thick. It needs to retract. And he was like, the Hoover 37819. And he like waddles back in his back room, and he comes out with this like wheel, this big retractable wheel. And I took that back to my shop. And actually, in the movie at Mike It Loud, there's a scene where I'm routing a hole in the back of this guitar, and I'm dropping this wheel, and it just fits like a glove. And it worked out. So that's the story of Jack White and the Triple Jet.
Thank you for watching and listening. You can find more episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts. And a special thanks to those who support us on Patreon. It's your support that enables us to do this work.